My name is Chizzym Marcus, and I'm here for the OneDrive. I'll be taking us through these topics here: OneDrive, the functionalities of OneDrive, the key features of OneDrive, restoring deleted files, the OneDrive storage, restrictions and limitations, and of course, we're going to have a hands-on session, and we can wrap it up from there. OneDrive is a cloud storage solution in Microsoft 365. It lets you store files like they've said. You can share files. You can sync OneDrive with your devices, your laptops, whatever devices you can, as long as there's an internet access, you can sync OneDrive with it. So you can access files anywhere, anytime, whether you're offline or online. And the great thing is, whenever you make a change or you upload a file, there's a change or whatever on your OneDrive. Whenever you come back online, if let's say you're offline and then you come back online, there's an automated syncing that gets all your files updated both on your device and in the cloud. All right. So OneDrive allows your organization to control, secure, and retain files whenever they feel like, with the use of permissions. So, for example, we have a file, probably a very, um, how am I going to do this now? Let's say we have a file that we don't want everybody in the organization to see. You can set the permissions level, you know, let's say for view, if you don't want a certain amount of people or a certain people to make changes to that particular file, you can restrict the access to just view. And you can also restrict them from downloading the files. We're going to get into that, and everybody's going to see how that is being done. So you can edit, you can comment on the file anytime at all, as long as you have the permission to a file or to a folder. Right. Moving on. So please, at any point in time you have a question, or you want to say something, please feel free to unmute yourself, and I don't mind. Okay. All right. Moving on. So OneDrive have 8 core functionalities, and for me, those are very beautiful things for me, like accessing files from anywhere, like I mentioned earlier, on the go with the OneDrive mobile app. I don't know how many of us have actually tried that. If you haven't, you need to. If you're somebody that uses the Microsoft 365, you need to have the OneDrive mobile app in your devices. It helps you seamlessly for access to your files anywhere at all, anywhere, no matter the device you're using. All right, so it allows offline edits, and of course, it automatically syncs whenever you connect to the internet. It's great for seamless collaboration and file sharing within and outside your organization. You collaborate seamlessly. Trust me, we're going to see that on this call. So I think somebody mentioned security. Your files are secured. Your files are protected. So um, it's really difficult to have a lot of file when you have OneDrive, because even when your files are deleted, you can actually restore your OneDrive and get your files back, even when they are missing. I think that's the word, when they are missing or corrupted, or if there's a malicious attack at some point. And of course, the administrators can manage security policies to safeguard informations. All right. So, and another beautiful thing about OneDrive is that it integrates with Microsoft apps for file sharing. You can integrate, it's integrated with a lot of Microsoft apps, the Teams, SharePoint, Outlook. You can, of course, it's endless, but you can name them yourself. All right, so moving on. Um, when you hear OneDrive, just know that OneDrive has four major features of OneDrive. That's the file storage, syncing, sharing, file sharing, of course, co-authoring, that's collaboration, real-time collaboration with the Microsoft 365 apps, you know. So you can store all your documents, your photos, different formats of files can be securely saved in the cloud through your OneDrive. And it lets you sync your data, you keep your data up to date using the OneDrive Sync app. You store your files there, you sync your files there, you can share easily with people, both internal and external people in your organizations. Of course, controlling the permissions whenever you need it, however you like. And of course, the co-authoring, which is collaborating real time on the go, on the go. Okay, moving on. Restoring deleted files and folders or previous versions of OneDrive file in your OneDrive. Like I mentioned earlier, when your OneDrive, whenever you have files that are missing in your OneDrive, you can easily get them back with something called the point in time restoration. A point in time restoration where, let's say, for example, yesterday you saw a file in your OneDrive, but today you couldn't find that file, and you check the recycle bin, you check the second stage of recycle bin, and you couldn't find it. You could just go back to the point in time, to a point in time, and restore your OneDrive. It's going to give back, let's say today you couldn't find a file, but yesterday you found it, and you can restore your OneDrive back to yesterday, and all the files that were there in your OneDrive sites yesterday automatically comes back when you restore it. All right, so keep in mind that whenever a file is deleted from OneDrive, they are kept in the recycle bin for up to 93 days from the time you delete those items, from the time you delete those folders or files. You have up to 93 days to restore them from the recycle bin, of course, unless say your recycle bin is full, or you manually delete them. After deleting from the first stage, you go to the second stage and delete them intentionally. uh Then at that point in time, you may not be able to get back those files. All right, so let's go on. So the OneDrive storage space. OneDrive is included in Microsoft 365 plans. A lot of the plans, the business standard, the business premium, E3, E5, there are a lot of plans that comes with OneDrive included in them. And when you have the OneDrive included, there's a default storage space that is allocated to each user, and that is 1 terabyte. But of course, it can be modified with admin access, of course. So admins can actually modify the OneDrive storage space of each user in their tenant. So it can decrease it or increase it depending on how the administrators of the tenants love to allocate their storage space. And the OneDrive can be purchased as a standalone plan. As a standalone plan, you can just purchase OneDrive alone on its own. All right. And there are restrictions and limitations. I'm going to drop a link for this. We're not going to dive deep into that because of time. Because of time, we're not going to go deep into that. So there are restrictions, there are limitations that applies to the OneDrive files, the file names. Sometimes you might want to save a file name. Maybe it's not saving. You might want to check if the file path is too long. There's a um, there's a symbol or something that is not being supported, the file type. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat box shortly after this. I'm just not get interrupted. Okay, so there are limitations, there are restrictions to OneDrive, and of course I will drop the link and you can check that out as soon as possible. Okay, so I think let's just go straight to the OneDrive sites. Just a moment. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So this is a typical OneDrive site. This is mine, a typical OneDrive site. So I created this test document yesterday, just so we can work with it. And I didn't mention there's something called versioning in OneDrive where let me just open it up so we can see. Uh, yeah. So version history. These are modifications on the file. This was the original content of the file. This 1.0. Then I made changes and it became 2.0. As long as changes keeps occurring on the file, you're going to be seeing each of this version history here. But the beautiful thing is that you can actually restore these changes to the original, like the very beginning of the content, and the file is just going to go back to the way it was originally. You can find that here. You click on restore, and every changes that has been made on the file will automatically be go back to the very beginning. All right. So right here, you can restore anything you want to do on a particular file. All right. So I mentioned the point in time restoration. You can find that here. So this is where you restore your OneDrive. All right. So we can just set the date, and let's say you want to go back 1 week or few days ago. You can make all the modifications here. I don't want to restore my OneDrive site right now, but this is where you can make all the changes, and it hits restore, and everything goes back to the point in time you want it to get to. Okay. All right. So on this navigation pane, we have the home. Of course, this is like the home of your OneDrive file. You have recent and everything that you need to access quickly. And here you can find your files. Every file that you have in your OneDrive, they are located here. And here where you have the shared, all the documents you've shared with people, people have shared with you, you can find them here. People shared with you, shared by you here. Yes, this was when I was testing. So if you shared any file at all, you can find them at this shared location. If you favorited any attachments, any file, you can find them here. And of course, this is the recycle bin I was talking about earlier on. So this is the first stage of the recycle bin. If I go further to deleting this document, let's just test it out. Great. So if we go further, one moment. If you go further, this is the second stage. This is where you can find the second stage recycle bin. And you can see, voila, our document is still available here. And from here, we can restore the document. You can restore it back. See? So we're back here, and then you can find that file here. This is the file we just restored. All right. So moving on, yes, I mentioned OneDrive integration with other Microsoft app. Here are some apps. These are SharePoint sites that is already created. This HRO is a Teams channel, and it's integrated with the OneDrive automatically. So every document that has been shared within the Teams channel, you can find them here. But we don't have any. Oh, there's one here. So any document that is being shared within the Teams channel, you can find here. If you've shared any documents within the Teams site, you can access them here on the OneDrive. All right. Okay. So let's go back to files and do the Odogo of them all. Okay, so this is actually my favorite part, managing access. The managing access in your OneDrive. If you want to share a file, here's the link. Clicking the share button, it creates a link for you here. So you can just copy the link and share with whoever you want to share manually. But if you want to send within a group, within your organization, you can actually pick out a name. For example, we want to do this. Want to do this, right? And hit send. A link will be sent to my email for me to be able to access this OneDrive. Okay, let's just see. Okay, so here it is automatically. So you can just click this out, and we have access to the document that was shared. Here it is. Okay, so let's move on. I have this opened up already. Okay, one moment. All right. So here we can manage assets. We'll come back to this manage assets because it has a lot of stuff in it. Delete. We've already gone through this. So yeah, you can move your file within the OneDrive site. When you click this, it brings the options to change the location of your OneDrive, and then you can just choose the path you want to send it to. But we're not doing that on this call. So, okay. All right. So you can copy there, and you can, is integrated to Power Automate. This is an interesting part. You can create flows within your OneDrive. For those of us that are familiar with Power Automate, I'm sure you understand what I mean. So you can actually create flows from OneDrive, and it syncs. So here's the version history that I mentioned. Okay, so let's go back to manage access. All right, so these are the people I already shared with, and I'm the owner. So I sent this link to a test user, and I gave them the permission to edit the file. So wherever they are, as long as they have access to their OneDrive and they have access to this file I shared with them, they can make changes on this. We're going to try that right now. Just okay. We're going to try that right now. Um, I'd like somebody to drop their email. I'd like someone to drop their email in the chat. So let me just send them uh, a link to this file so they can try to make changes, and let's see it real time. Anybody? Okay, so while somebody is dropping, I believe somebody is dropping their their email. Let's just go over this. So yeah,
Yeah.
when you set this, okay, just a moment, I'll get to that. Thank you so much. So when you set your sharing to anyone, you see here, share with anyone, it doesn't require a sign in. So anyone at all with this link um can access this file. Then if I want to restrict the file access to people within this tenant, I just have to select this people within Live Hub. So, and then when I set the link, I share the link, I create the link rather, and share the link. Only people within Live Hub can have access to it. So if I already given access to people on this particular file, I can just click this. So people with existing access are the ones that will have access to this. But if I want to choose people, so this is where we can send externally, so anyone, and I can change the settings here to edit, to review. They can suggest like comments on the document, or they can just view. So if I don't want anybody with the view access to download this document, I just have to block download. So they can only view, but they can't download it, which means they can't have a copy of it in their devices. They cannot download this document. And when I hit apply, that changes, it just changes everything. And when I shared the link that is being created, they can just view and not download, and that's just the access they have. Exactly. So as you're making changes, this is what we mean by the collaboration. As they're making changes, we're seeing it real time. Real time. Can we see this? Are we seeing this? Who else has access to this file? If you have access and you can make change, please just be doing it. Let's be seeing it on the call. So at as they are making changes on the file, I'm actually seeing it, and it makes collaboration seamless. It makes collaboration seamless. So if we have a document we're working on as a team, as a team, we can be doing it together and in different locations. While Favor is making changes, I'm seeing it. If I'm making changes or editing anything on the file, they are seeing it real time, or whenever they have access to the document, they'll be able to see the updates on the file. All right, so syncing your OneDrive, you see this gear icon here. So when you hit this sync this OneDrive, let's just do it right here, and we'll be able to see what's going on. So right here, we are setting it up. So when this is done, it syncs all the files in your OneDrive site to your device.